Welcome Aries to your in-depth monthly horoscope for February 2024 for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm just going to give you some standout details to look out for, but please stay with me. I will explore in great depth all the ins and outs, key dates, particularly relevant to your sign. Now we have to be conscious of your ruler Mars. Mars is what gives you passion, initiative, action. But because Saturn has been in a very muting part of your situation since last March the 7th, some of that drive may have just had the edge taken off it. It's not that you don't still have opportunities to move forwards or haven't. It's more that you felt a little bit divided between clearing up some old strands and really welcoming some new possibilities. But of course, last month, Pluto moved on the 21st of January into your 11th house, which is very much about the collective, but also friendships. And Mars connects to Pluto from around about the 11th of the month. And as Mars moves into friendly Aquarius on the 13th, they're exactly aligned. So that's really, really exciting. Venus then joins Mars on the 16th. So I'm going to tell you in my in-depth section that there's lots of social possibilities for you this month, and perhaps even some romantic ones too. You can ascend above this zodiac broadcast and understand the power of more serious astrology. If you give me 3 pieces of your personal birth data, of time, date and place, or date and place if you don't know your time, I can produce for you your life roadmap report, your character analysis. This is the foundation for all of our interactions in our lives. We're not totally ruled by it. We can work with it and evolve, but understanding it gives us so many insights to the patterns that have played out in our life so far. Also, you can get your 12-month forecast based on the moving planets in the sky and how they interact with your unique blueprint. Also, if you order with the link below now, you can get 30% off, but you also get my Zodiac, Love, Chinese and Indian Year 2024 booklets totally free of charge. Please see the link below for more. So as you come into February, Aries, the interesting thing is there's a lot of emphasis on your career and in terms of your worldly interactions. You could find that some of the discussions are coming through people you know. So it could be past contacts or associations or people you've worked with before. Those introductions can prove to be really valuable for you. Now on the 5th, Mercury is going to be moving out of the sign of Capricorn and into the sign of Aquarius, but that then combines with Pluto. If you need to assess your future plans, which is what the 11th house is about, it's not just about friendships, it's not just about our social interactions, it is about our higher aspirations, but also where we see our future heading. So what the combination of the thinking of Mercury and of course the talking with the passion and depth of understanding of Pluto could create a lot of clarity around something that you've been a little bit unsure about. But there is a square between the Sun from the 5th to the 11th and the rather restless and settling energy of Uranus, which has been in your sector of everyday finances, but also your sector of self-worth for 5 months in 2018 and from March 2019 full time. And that threads through the new moon, which occurs on the 9th. Now, a new moon is great to really visualize our hopes and our intentions, particularly this one because it's very much about your highest hopes, and it is about those aspirations that sometimes go beyond the material plane. But you can't hide the fact that Uranus is in a very earthy sign in Taurus, and therefore it is asking you to think carefully. So if you are feeling in the mood to be more speculative with your resources or even have a flutter, you could find yourself being a bit more impulsive on the back of this new moon. But if you are forging new alliances, the best way to make sure that it's going to work out for you is always be guided by your values. If your values mesh with the people you're getting to know, even if you have different personal interests, those core values, those commonalities are really going to be helpful to you. But the arrival of Mars in Aquarius is very, very powerful indeed, because Mars is definitely about that action that we spoke of before, but Pluto, of course, can be about the power, the deeper power. The combination of the two is really going to give you so much willpower and determination to take some kind of big step forwards. And it really, really could be very, very exciting. But what about Valentine's Day? Well, if you're in a relationship, celebrating the things you have in common is a really important thing to do, even if there are some issues like most relationships have. But do really celebrate those shared parts of your involvement. If you're single, you're going to find over the next month that there's a lot more interaction with other people. There could be a lot more invitations, meetups. It could be very lively for this time of year, particularly on the 16th when Venus moves to join up with Pluto and Mars in Aquarius. But this friendly dimension is something to really enjoy. I feel since Saturn moved into your 12th house last year, and of course Neptune's been there since 2012, you have encountered some disappointments. Not everybody has necessarily turned out to be as genuine and sincere as you would like. But in some way, perhaps you're being asked to become more at peace with some of the elements that didn't work for you and really invest in the things that are working. So that requires that drive and that thrust that's so unique to your sign. So a great opportunity to dash forwards. Mercury is going to be squaring up with Uranus on the 16th to the 18th. You could find yourself feeling quite over aroused across those days, more difficult to sleep, for example. But by the 19th, the Sun moves into the sign of Pisces, which is the sector of reflection. Of course, you already have Saturn and Neptune here, and he's going to be followed by Mercury on the 23rd. We also have a full moon on the 24th, and that's pretty close to Saturn. In fact, the last 3 days of this month does see the Sun in a conjunction with Saturn and Mercury in a conjunction with Saturn. In fact, it's the 28th is absolutely exact with the Sun. So it may feel in some ways that you're having to give something up in order to embrace this new, bright and exciting future. And it could feel like it's a bit of a tough choice in some ways. But if something or someone has really been weighing you down and making you feel quite heavy and having an impact on you in an energetic way that's not good. For example, you're feeling emotionally drained, wherever it is a job, an interest, a group of people. What all this energy in Aquarius is asking you to do is realise that life isn't a perfect process, and you may have to cut the cords on the things that aren't working in order to get in touch with the things that can work for you. So because the full moon is in a very practical sign of Virgo, balancing your health in terms of the amount of exercise and nutrition you have against the more psychological parts of your situation is really what you're being asked to do for the last phase of this month. Of course, we've got an extra day this particular February, it's a leap year, and into the start of March. So a lot of very dynamic energy, which is really encouraging you to be bold, decisive, to take a little bit of a walk on the wild side. And as I say, there could be some things from your past or that you need to break free from that maybe are very tempting to hold on to because they are familiar. But if they're not doing you that much good in that inner world, that full moon at the end of the month is really going to flag it up.